The National Desk, America's News Now.
Escalating tensions, fears rising of a widened Middle East war as U.S. troops remain in the firing line. See how an attempted carjacking was stopped in Washington state.
He's lucky I had bear spray, or I probably would have just killed the out of him.
A heroic son's quick thinking stopped a criminal in his tracks. And ketamine boom. The fact-check team explains ketamine's uses and why the prescription that led to actor Matthew Perry's death is booming.
From the nation's capital, this is the National Desk, America's News Now. I'm Dee Dee Gatton, and on this weekend edition, we start in the Middle East, where Israel's top military chief says its war with Hamas will go on for months as they fight on multiple fronts. There are growing fears that U.S. troops will be pulled into a broader war in the Middle East as Iran-backed groups are stepping up their attacks. The National Desk, Atra El-Nashar, has the latest on the conflict.
From the Suez Canal to Yemen to Iraq and places in between, escalations of violence between U.S. forces or allies and Iran-backed militia stemming from Israel's war with Hamas. The stakes of confrontation getting higher with news that Iran was able to triple its production of highly enriched uranium at nuclear facilities over just a few months. Over in the Red Sea, U.S. Central Command says its forces spent 10 hours on Tuesday shooting down 12 attack drones and 5 missiles fired by Iran-backed Houthis, who've been attacking commercial vessels in the key shipping route. The U.S. is juggling multiple interests here, supporting Israel's goal of eliminating Hamas, facilitating humanitarian aid to Gaza, and bringing hostages home. But another top priority is preventing a broader regional conflict from breaking out, especially one that involves U.S. troops.
And once and for all, breaking the devastating cycle of violence and moving toward durable, lasting peace.
Which seems farther out of reach with each clash with Iranian-backed fighters. Some Republicans in Congress say the president should instead order direct strikes on Iran.
They have oil fields out in the open. They have the Revolutionary Guard headquarters you can see from space. Blow it off the map. Hit them over there before they hit them us, and you don't need 100,000 troops, but you need some.
Right now, every time you hear the Secretary of Defense, the Secretary of State, Jake Sullivan, the National Security Advisor, come to the mic and say our #1 goal is non-escalation or de-escalation, Tehran hears that as opportunity.
This would certainly come with risks and the potential of Iran striking back directly, not just through its proxies. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar reporting.
In the Middle East, Israel is issuing new warnings along all of its borders while it receives threats from terrorist groups backed by Iran.
We are in a multi-arena war. We are being attacked from 7 different sectors: Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, Judea and Samaria, Iraq, Yemen, and Iran. We have already responded and acted in 6 of these decrees. And I say here in the most explicit way, anyone who acts against us is a potential target. There is no immunity for anyone.
There are growing fears that U.S. troops will be pulled into a broader war in the Middle East. In the Red Sea, the U.S. Central Command said its forces spent 10 hours on Tuesday shooting down 12 attack drones and 5 missiles fired by Iran-backed Houthis. Some Republican lawmakers think the U.S. needs to order direct strikes on Iran before the conflict gets out of hand.
They have oil fields out in the open. They have the Revolutionary Guard headquarters you can see from space. Blow it off the map. Hit them over there before they hit them us, and you don't need 100,000 troops, but you need some.
The Pentagon said its main objective is de-escalation, but critics think Iran sees that as an opportunity. And in North Korea, dictator Kim Jong-un now ordering his country's military to accelerate war preparations in response to, quote, confrontational moves by the U.S. He also said his country would expand strategic cooperation with anti-imperialistic countries, including Russia, among others. New details on a missile attack on a Russia warship. Moscow has admitted the attack in Crimea damaged a port and a naval ship. According to Russia's defense ministry, One person was killed in the attack, but have not said how badly the ship was damaged. Ukraine said it was completely destroyed. On the war front in Ukraine, at least 2 people are dead and another 5 are hurt after a strike in Odessa. Ukraine's interior minister said one of the victims was just 6 years old. Ukraine says Russia has increased shelling on its southern regions in recent months. Back here at home, the crime crisis continues in Washington state, but this time, a carjacking attempt on a woman at a rest area was stopped by her son's heroic actions. The National Desk, Michelle Esteban, reports from Seattle.
I just grab it and you take the safety off.
James Schaefer didn't hesitate to blast bear spray at 2 suspects. His mom was in trouble here at the rest stop off I-5 and Federal Way. Witnesses saw a man and woman attempt to get into cars, including his mom's car.
Then he came back around and opened my mom's door, grabbed her, pulled her out. She hit the ground holding the door.
It happened near the end of the morning commute. James' family stopped to use the rest area on their way to Ocean Shores.
Talk to me a little bit about being a son and seeing somebody do that to your mom. I mean,
He's lucky I had bear spray or I probably would have just kicked the out of him.
And the 72-year-old wasn't his only worry.
But my sister, she's 32, and my 5-year-old niece was in the vehicle at the same time. My sister, I guess, was hitting the guy from the back seat.
State Patrol told me the suspect put the car in reverse and was about to take off when James blasted him with bear spray. It worked.
do you have any opinion on people taking matters into their own hands like that?
I mean, if he felt like he was in danger, then he did what he felt like he needed to do.
But just when James thought it was over, the suspect got into his car. It was parked next to his mom's. He locked all the doors with James' wife in the passenger seat. But he didn't have the car keys. They were in James' pocket. That's when the suspect took off on foot. But not before James hit both of them with bear spray one more time.
That's scary, scary, scary.
Nancy McCaleb uses the rest stop regularly.
I lived in Alaska for a long time. We carried bear spray all the time. It's good stuff.
They took off running right into the arms of police, who nabbed them nearby.
They thought it was great because I got them, but I didn't get them. I just sprayed them.
Friends actor Matthew Perry passed away from the effects of ketamine, according to the autopsy report. And I'm here with Courtney from the Fact Check team. Ketamine is a Schedule III drug. What is it usually used for?
So ketamine has been used for decades as an anesthetic, but in 2019, the FDA approved infusions to treat depression and anxiety, and it's also been used to treat substance use disorders. There are safety precautions, though, because it's not approved for at-home use, so the infusions have to be given in a clinical setting under the supervision of a healthcare professional. Patients can take it at home orally or by using nasal sprays, but the FDA has warned against that because they can't ensure the patient's safety.
Do we have any idea how many people actually use it?
So according to Epic Research, prescriptions have increased more than 500% since 2017, more than a quarter of them for depression, but mostly to treat pain. A study from All Points North found more than half of people who tried at-home ketamine therapy either accidentally or purposely used more than the recommended dose. While on its own, ketamine rarely causes an overdose. It's more likely to happen when mixed with drugs or alcohol.
And then, as we talked about throughout this conversation, it also does get used for recreational purposes, right?
That's right, it does, because it causes disassociation and hallucinations. Some people take it as a pill, while some snort it or smoke it, and it's sometimes mixed with other club drugs like MDMA. Most of the ketamine that's illegally distributed here in the U.S. is stolen from legitimate sources like veterinary clinics or smuggled in.
A lot to keep in mind there. All right, thank you so much, Courtney, and thank you for watching. If you've got more questions about this Fact Check team topic, including you want to see the links to their sources, scan the QR code on your screen right now or visit thenationaldesk.com.
Still ahead on the National Desk, AI concerns parents across the country are growing uneasy about the emerging technology in their child's classroom. And fraud alert, the new crime trend taking the internet by storm, the billions of dollars in losses targeting an unexpected group of victims. Some parents are hesitant about artificial intelligence being used in the classroom. The National Desk, Janae Bones, explains the concerns and what others believe are benefits.
So how about we ask ChatGPT to make us a list of books about volcanoes?
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Jamie Barba and her husband Chris homeschool their 2 sons and are passionate about teaching them how to use artificial intelligence at a young age.
I think it's important for us to know what's new, what's upcoming, what other people are using.
Jamie emphasizes to her 9 and 10-year-olds that it enhances your work. It's not something that should do your work.
So if they do get to the point where they're writing papers, it can be a great research tool.
But not all parents agree. A National Parents Union survey shows 44% of parents think there are about equal potential benefits and downsides when it comes to AI tools being used in K-12 public education. In addition to cheating, skeptics warn AI may hinder development.
We don't introduce the calculator before children understand how it works, how math works. It's an evolutional tool.
Dr. Lisa Palmer, an artificial intelligence business strategist, says teaching AI to children requires carefulness.
So educators have experience helping to evolve kids' learning approach. And this is what we need to do. The same applies to AI.
Jamie says she is teaching her sons how to use AI responsibly now to hopefully help them get ahead.
Having the ability to use that tool will just further them both in their education and their ability to get jobs in the future.
The National Parents Union also found 51% of parents know little general information or nothing at all about AI. Dr. Lisa says parents must embrace this technology so their kids don't fall behind. In Washington, I'm Janae Bowens.
It is the fastest growing form of fraud you've probably never heard of. Synthetic identity scams are piling up, costing the country more than $20 billion. As the National Desk, Christine Frizzell reports, the primary victims are often our children.
It's yet another example of criminals outsmarting law enforcement after beefed up efforts to combat identity theft. Now they're combining a stolen social security number with a fictitious name and date of birth to create a new identity, which is then used to obtain an email address, driver's license, and more.
With some patients, the criminal will spend time building up the credit profile of the synthetic identity. Later, the criminal obtains a large credit limit, maxes it out, and vanishes.
The victims? Sometimes the elderly or homeless people, but more often, children. More than 1 million a year, whose families may not find out for years when they go to apply for a student loan or to buy a car. Other victims are financial institutions, with estimates financial losses will reach $5 billion by 2024, according to the digital identity company Socure.
The one thing I'll say about fraud in particular, it takes the path of least resistance, right? It's like water. It's going to find its way through the nooks and crannies.
Those nooks and crannies seemingly plentiful, especially in the U.S. government and agencies tasked with doling out benefits.
There are nation states and international criminal enterprises that are actively seeking to intercept, will be funding or benefits or gain access to services that are intended for the United States population.
Synthetic identity has now surpassed credit card fraud and identity theft as the fastest growing form of fraud in the world. Experts say it can be tackled with a collaboration by credit reporting agencies working with banks and the federal government to find these manipulated and fabricated identities and essentially kill them before they've taken on a life and identity of their own. In Washington, I'm Christine Frizzell.
The FBI now sounding the alarm over Beijing's use of artificial intelligence. The agency believes China is planning spies inside U.S. companies to gather trade secrets on AI in order to use the technology to harvest sensitive data on Americans. U.S. intelligence has linked China to several cyber attacks over the past decade. Still ahead, fuel costs, where drivers could soon see relief at the pump after a year of record gas prices. This is the National Desk, America's News Now. We have reporters all across the country in your neighborhoods covering issues that matter to you. From record-breaking warm temperatures, which created hazardous ice conditions in Wisconsin, to changes in Pennsylvania's gas tax that could bring relief to motorists in the new year. We're taking the pulse of America, but we begin in Ohio, where residents of one apartment building are still fighting for their belongings 1 year after being evacuated.
A year later, it still feels like a nightmare.
The nightmare started 1 year ago, Christmas Day in Columbus at Latitude 525 Apartments. The reason? Unlivable conditions. They left with what they could carry, thinking they'd be back. But that day never came.
It's just one of these things that I just want to be over. But a year later, it is still stressful. It's still like you have to deal with it.
We first met Angelo Clark last March as she waited for city leaders to give her what she left behind. A year after the emergency evacuation, most of everyone's belongings sit locked up in the towers. City leaders blame asbestos for that. Clark says she received a few things recently, but nothing important.
Not a birth certificate, not a social security, no important paperwork. My sister-in-law ashes are still there. My husband firearms.
Instead, she says she's left with trauma.
It's like PTSD. Girl, it takes you back to a mental space that you don't want to be in.
Pennsylvania motorists' pockets will soon feel some relief in the new year due to a decrease in the Commonwealth's gas tax rate. According to the Department of Revenue, on January 1st, the rate will decrease from 61.1 cents per gallon to 57.6 cents per gallon, a reduction of 3.5 cents.
Any little bit helps, and gas is very expensive as is. I'll take 3 cents cheaper. That's great.
Gabby from Larksville sometimes commutes to New Jersey, and with Pennsylvania having one of the highest gas taxes in the country, she finds herself filling up across the border.
They're very blessed with the low gas prices. It hurts a lot coming back into Pennsylvania, and I see the crazy difference between the two gas prices between the states.
The decrease also impacts diesel fuel prices, which will now drop from 78.5 cents per gallon to 74.1. Brian Wanner is the president of Peters Brothers Incorporated, a trucking company. He explains how the reduction will help the business.
With the economy the way it is and the trucking industry being very challenging this past year, that's a bit of good news.
The ice is never 100% safe.
Though it's a good reminder at any time, those words are perhaps even more true now with unseasonably warm and record-breaking temperatures in northeast Wisconsin. Officials are reporting dangerous ice conditions in Shawano County. The same cannot be said in Oshkosh, where the water in Lake Winnebago looks more like what you might see in the summer. Don Herman, owner of Sunk Ice and Dive, has been in the ice fishing game for decades. He says the earlier parts of the season make for the best fishing, but from a safety standpoint, it's best to wait.
When it gets below 32, it makes ice, but it doesn't make a very good ice until we get around 0.
That's advice first responders also want to stress.
So if you're going to venture out on foot, we're looking for 4 inches minimum. Carrying some safety equipment with you, which we call ice alls or ice picks around your neck, so in case you fall through, you're able to climb out. Safety rope, telling people where you're going, and especially knowing where you're going. You don't want to go out on ice that hasn't been traveled by other people per se.
Firefighter Tyler Hillen says ice should be 5 to 8 inches thick for ATV travel and at least a foot thick for truck travel.
Ahead here on the National Desk, evolving media. Consumers may be forced to trade choice for convenience in the age of new media. We look at how the fall of physical media is shaping your world of entertainment. Best Buy and Netflix have recently announced that physical DVD sales will be stopped in the new year. And in the age of streaming services, are we trading choice for convenience? The National Desk consumer reporter Cassie Arsenault looks into that question.
Well, physical media may never die. Take vinyl, for example. It's had a resurgence. But when it comes to shows and movies, everything that's getting released is ending up on varying streaming services. So while this gives us convenience, no doubt, we are giving up a little bit of freedom when it comes to watching whatever we want, when we want. The rush home, the anticipation. Settling in to watch the movie you spent so much time hunting for. Knowing you can watch this flick as many times as you want, when you want, with no interruptions. It's an experience turned nostalgia thanks to the digital age. An art almost lost.
This is the beginning of the end of an era. Welcome to the movie bunker, that's what we call it. So my favorite movie of all time is Halloween. We got movies up here like Barbie, Batman the Animated Series, Dawn of the Dead, the complete Puppet Master collection, The Shining, Walking Dead, Harry Potter.
Chris Means grew up with an infatuation for films.
Those movies that are behind me there are mine forever. The games that I have are mine forever. So no matter what happens, whether I have internet connection or what, those are mine and I can watch and enjoy.
He's found more than 20,000 followers on TikTok.
Supernatural, that's a great one. Sam and Dean have never looked so good. Supernatural here on Blu-ray.
Who share his same passion.
I enjoy having access to deleted scenes and interviews on physical media. I made content that I wish that somebody else was doing. Walking into a video store, hey man, do you have Critters? And I'm like, yeah, there you go.
But despite an interested audience, roles have been recast. Netflix mailed its last DVD in September. Their DVD business has dwindled from $1 billion in revenue in 2012 to $146 million in 2022. Ingram Entertainment, once the largest distributor of DVDs, announced their exit from the disc business. While some say this is the death of physical media, there are people like Chris who would like to hit rewind.
One day it'll rise back like the phoenix.
It very well could. Take vinyl, for example. The Recording Industry Association reported their highest levels of physical media sales in 10 years. In Knoxville, Grindhouse video sales are doubling every year.
I sold 45,000 units in 2 weeks. It almost was so big of a sale that it almost shut me down.
This store specializes in all physical media geared toward horror and cult films. He sells hundreds of thousands of dollars in VHS tapes every month, but it isn't enough of a profit to keep a place like Best Buy from hitting eject. So that leads most of us relying on streaming services.
There is no streaming service that allows you to watch whatever you want.
There's a convenience here. But there's a convenience that's going to come at a price.
The price is that licensing agreements for movies expire on streaming services. Sometimes even things you have paid for and downloaded can't be accessed when this happens, pushing you to pay for more subscriptions. In addition, the quality of the movie is compressed. Blu-rays and 4K actually outperform those versions in every way. Even the multi-billion-dollar gaming industry has changed a player's choice. If you buy a game and you didn't like it, you could return it or sell it. Now with a digital copy, that's near impossible.
That is not an accident. That's by design from the companies to maximize their profits. I think that there may be opportunities in the extended future that will pull us back from the monopolistic distribution that we're kind of moving towards right now.
A DVD once took center stage, now merely has a cameo. Are the credits set to roll?
I don't think that physical media will ever completely die. I think that right now, as dire as things seem, that physical media is in a great place.
A most recent example of some of this freedom being taken away is that Sony announced they're getting rid of their Discovery content. So shows you love, like Mythbusters or Deadliest Catch, even if you paid for them and downloaded them, you won't be able to watch them. They're getting rid of 1,000 shows in total off the PlayStation user libraries. Reporting, I'm Cassie Arsenault.
Still ahead on the National Desk, just keep it. The high cost some retailers are charging Americans trying to return unwanted Christmas gifts. You're watching the National Desk, America's News Now. You can catch us live weekdays from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time and anytime online at thenationaldesk.com. We'll be right back.
The National Desk, America's News, now.
Inflation rate falling. Recently released numbers show inflation numbers are down, but how do consumers feel about their buying power? And cutting cable, how thieves trying to make a quick buck are impacting more than just phone and internet services by stealing cable lines. And police academies see how larger classes of new officers will help benefit communities faster in the Pacific Northwest. From the nation's capital, this is the National Desk, America's News Now. I'm Dee Dee Gatton, and 2023 has been a year of high prices and high interest rates. But a recession, despite economists' fears earlier in the year, was avoided thanks to a strong, robust job market, and robust consumer spending. The National Desk Atra El-Nashar has a look at the final inflation data of the year and what it means for your 2024 budget.
When it comes to inflation, 2023 is ending on a low note, and that's a good thing. According to a gauge the Federal Reserve watches closest, the year started out with a 5.3% year-over-year inflation rate. 2023 is ending with that figure down to 2.6% based on data released Friday by the Commerce Department.
Thinking back to a year ago, that consensus was we couldn't get to where we are today on inflation without a spike in unemployment and a recession, but the unemployment rate's been below 4% for 22 months running now.
When volatile food and energy prices are taken out of the equation, the inflation rate is slightly higher, 3.2%. The Fed wants to see that at 2%, meaning their high interest rates could stick around for a while. Looking at inflation month to month, costs actually went down. That hasn't happened since spring of 2020. But when it comes to consumer sentiment, there's still a ways to go before people feel good again.
People are a little bit more careful about what they're spending their money on these days.
The latest poll from The Economist and YouGov finds only 30% of adults rate the economy as good or excellent. 26% said fair and 42% said poor. Though polls like this show people feel uneasy about current conditions, they're not necessarily behaving like it. You've heard of doom scrolling. How about doom spending? 27% of Americans say they spend money to cope with stress, despite their concerns about the economy or their own personal debt. It's adding to the overall robust consumer spending that's beaten expectations this year, pleasantly surprising business owners like at this shoe store in Wisconsin on Black Friday.
People talking about the economy not being as strong, but we were really blown away that our business gained so much.
As for what's in store for 2024, the Fed forecasts the rate of inflation will keep declining, meaning prices will still rise, but it gives Americans a better chance at keeping up. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar reporting.
If you are returning a gift this holiday season, be sure to watch out for extra costs. A recent report found that nearly 40% of companies are charging return fees. So along with the headache of the packaging and the labels, some financial pain could be attached as well.
We've become very accustomed to returning our online purchases with the growth of online shopping, but something that is very important to note is that 40% of retailers are starting to charge return fees if you are sending those products back.
Smart shopping expert Trey Bodge says retailers are trying to balance their book and returns can be expensive. Logistics tech company Optoro estimates that processing a return could cost retailers as much as 39% of the original price.
In the past, you may have asked a retailer to return something, you get a shipping label, and it's very free and easy. Now you might have to pay, say, $5, $6 or more to return that item.
Retail tech company Narvar says nearly 40% of retailers are charging return fees this year. That's up from 31% in 2022. But other companies are telling shoppers to just keep the merchandise. 59% of retailers offer so-called keep it policies for unwanted products because the cost to return exceeds their values. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine signing into law a historic measure to safeguard his state from oppressive EV mandates. The bill prevents local governments from blocking new sales of gas-powered cars, lawn equipment, or other motorized tools. Republican lawmakers praising the legislation, arguing it will prevent undue economic burdens forced onto residents. Meantime, the demand for electric vehicles are on the decline, and so are their prices. A report from IC Cars shows automakers are trimming their EV investment budgets because Americans are not buying them. The price for a used EV this year is 33% lower than last year. In Washington state, 2 men have been charged after allegedly cutting and stealing public utility cables. The incident knocked out phone service and 911 call service for thousands of residents. The National Desk Jeremy Harris has more on this story.
It was along this stretch of road between North Bend and Snoqualmie where the court documents say the theft happened. We came here today and found this clump just hanging here. Looks like it'd been freshly cut. The cable companies say this can carry critical services like 911 phone lines and internet. Prosecutors have charged Joshua Eisenberger and Shane Israel after Snoqualmie police arrested them based on a tip from a driver who called in to report a U-Haul was stopped here on Highway 202. According to the charges, police found up to $500,000 worth of stolen communication cables in the U-Haul.
There's a significant impact on the community.
Gary Ernsdorf with the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office says thefts of this type of cable have been on the radar of law enforcement after major disruptions to phone and internet in recent months.
When the thieves are cutting these cables, they're disrupting digital communications for potentially tens of thousands of individuals.
The police report says Shane Israel is also a suspect in cable thefts that impacted the Valleycom 911 center in Kent.
What we're seeing is 911 service is interrupted. People's home medical devices that are actively being monitored are no longer being able to monitor.
Ernsdorf says the thefts are happening late at night and mostly in rural areas of the county. He says the motive is to resell the cables for scrap.
And people look at this like, oh, it's a property crime. They're stealing some copper wire. The impacts are much, much more significant.
This is one threat against the infrastructure that has law enforcement on alert. A year ago, 2 men were arrested for allegedly knocking out power substations so they could burglarize businesses. Both are now looking at time in federal prison.
Now, there's some potentially life-threatening complications that can arise.
Ernsdorf says crimes that target public infrastructure not only disrupt service, but cost utility companies a fortune.
That cable is $3,000 a foot. Do the math. That cable company, Lumen Technologies, that the damage loss to them is between $500,000 and $600,000.
Police departments across the country are in a hiring crisis. Many have tried rolling out new incentives, including pay increases, better benefits, and more desirable hours. Those have worked in some communities, but departments are still struggling to get their prospective officers trained. But a new initiative could help that problem in Oregon. The new program is cutting the wait time in half to get into Police Training Academy. The National Desk reporter, Wright Gazaway, takes a look at how it is helping in Portland, a city struggling with America's crime crisis.
Go ahead and finish up that last rep. Draw. Shooters check right, check left, and give me 6 separate controlled trigger presses. You may begin. From the gun range. When you're ready, work it back to the holster.
Anything can happen on a traffic stop. Car tried to go around them in the oncoming.
To the classroom.
And driver is out quick shooting at them.
A record number of new police officers from agencies across the state of Oregon are training in Salem right now. Getting closer to graduation and going back to the departments they came from, to police communities like Portland.
I have experienced shootings in front of the house.
These women who live in East Portland say more officers would be better. A police bureau dashboard shows response times in East Portland neighborhoods since last December are longer than 20 minutes for high-priority calls. The East Police Precinct has 99 patrol officers assigned to it.
I would love it, love it, love it if we can get really well-trained officers up and running.
I would just want to ensure that they are getting the specific training that they need and nothing is abbreviated or cut short or anything like that. But if we could have more officers on the streets, that would be great.
That's the plan here in Salem.
This campus will be bursting at the seams.
Dr. Stacy Utzi is the Deputy Director of the Department of Public Safety Standards and Training. She's led an agency-wide effort to increase the number of officers the state can train. The legislature provided money and staffing to hold 3 60-person academies. That's 20 spots larger than a normal academy. The Portland Police Bureau and Oregon State Police partnered to put on a 4th extra academy just for their new hires as well. Those changes mean next month, up to 260 trainees will be on campus at once. That's a more than 60% increase from their prior limit of 160 trainees.
All of our agencies are struggling. They all have shortages. Their officers are all working overtime. And so it was really important to us that we were able to meet this need so that they could get their officers on the street faster.
You always want to be expecting that stuff. You don't want to fall into a complacent mindset.
There's good reason for the expansion. A K2 investigation earlier this year found a hiring surge across the state, created a historic wait to get into the training academy. It took about 7 months. State law requires new hires to start training within 90 days of being hired if there's space in the academy. These new classes have dramatically cut the backlog.
We're right about 90 days now, which is what the statute requires.
A continued expansion will take commitment from the legislature. In an interview with Steve Dunn for Your Voice, Your Vote, we asked Oregon Governor Tina Kotek if she would push for expanded funding to train more police officers.
I'm open to considering ongoing expanded funding there, but let me just tell you the situation there. They are physically constrained about how many classes they can do. They are maximizing every inch of the training academy to get more people through. I think the question would be, can we sustain that? We'll be continuing to get updates. I think what I'm hearing from local law enforcement is they are feeling good about the increased classes, and it might take a couple years at that level of effort to actually get through the backlog.
The first 60-person class started in November. The second class started Monday. The third one starts in January. The agency will report back to the legislature in February about how the pilot project is going. Utzi says she and her colleagues have learned some early lessons.
We don't think that it's sustainable for us to be able to run them consecutively just because of the strain that it puts on the limited venues that we have. But we do expect that in the future we'll be able to scale up and down between a 40-person and a 60-person class as needed.
A need that might continue for at least the next few years, and an effort these residents would like to see.
Oh, I think it's a great opportunity for them to put more officers on the street quickly without losing training. And I think that they're more visible, they would be better for the community.
Is asking some iPhone users for their passcodes to view content. According to Data Economy, the app does not explain the cause. It began in November and continued into this month. Around the same time, Apple released 2 urgent security updates. Experts warn it's a bad idea to share sensitive information with the app due to security risks. Google agreed to settle a lawsuit accusing it of tracking Chrome users when they are in incognito mode. The financial terms of the settlement were not disclosed, and Google still denies wrongdoing.
The U.S. military is struggling to recruit service members. I'm with Courtney from the Fact Check team. Just how bad is this? Give us the facts.
Sure, Eugene. According to the Department of Defense, this year the military collectively missed recruiting goals by about 41,000 recruits. In fact, out of the 6 branches that make up the U.S. military, only the Marines and Space Force, which are the 2 smallest, met their goals. The Army and the Air Force fell short by 10,000 recruits, while the Navy expects to be 6,000 short.
Now, as we head into the new year, the U.S. will have the smallest military since before World War II. Why the struggle?
So there are a few reasons here. A Pentagon survey shows more than 3/4 of 17 to 24-year-olds are disqualified because of mental or physical health conditions, drug abuse, or being overweight, for example. And most are disqualified for multiple reasons. The military is also smaller than it used to be and in fewer places, meaning many people don't know anyone enlisted, which decreases the inclination to serve, and don't see service members in their community or on a regular basis. Now, back in 1995, 40% of young people had a parent who served in the military, but that number dropped to just 12% last year.
And of course, some people are just afraid of getting hurt as well. Courtney, thank you. For more on this fact check team topic, including links to Courtney's sources, scan the QR code on your screen or visit thenationaldesk.com.
Still ahead on the National Desk, closing the gap. The United States and China now taking their rivalry to outer space with no signs of slowing down. There's a new Alzheimer's treatment that shows promising benefits. Some are even calling it a game changer and a reason for hope. Reporter Justin Berger with the National Desk team in North Carolina reports.
The drug is called lecanemab.
This is not a cure for Alzheimer's disease. This is not even anything that stops it in its tracks. This is just meant to slow down the progression. But it's the first time we've had our foot in the door to really offer something that changes the pathology, the actual changes in the brain that are responsible for Alzheimer's disease. And so for that reason, it's exciting. It's a game changer, and it's a reason for hope.
Dr. Callahan, a neurologist by trade, administered the first dose of the new drug in early December to an 81-year-old Hendersonville woman recently diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Callahan says besides a minor headache, she was very optimistic. Several more are close to beginning treatment.
What we hope to see is that really changes the trajectory of these patients over the course of not just the immediate future in the first couple of years, but in the length of the disease, which is 10 to 20-year course.
Fully approved by the FDA in July, the infusion treatment is intended for patients with early or mild memory issues related to Alzheimer's. The infusion is given every 2 weeks in a chair like Dr. Callahan is sitting in. The treatment lasts about an hour before a brief monitoring period.
The biggest side effects you run into with this medication is...
Side effects include headaches, fever, and chills in about 25% of patients, according to Dr. Callahan. But after several treatments, that risk declines. Because of how the drug works, there are several restrictions for patients as well, including being able to have an MRI and not being on blood thinners.
These new medicines really target those proteins and those changes that take place in the brain of an Alzheimer's patient.
The cost of the treatment is about $32,000 a year and is covered by Medicare in certain cases.
But I think with the changes that we're seeing and the amount of research that's gone into this and the number of medicines like this that are coming to market, that in a couple of years we'll be having real meaningful conversations about the disease and how it's changed.
And in the coming weeks, 2 U.S. companies are set to launch uncrewed spacecraft to the moon. And while it's been more than 50 years since America beat the Soviets to put the first man on the moon, another space race is underway, this time with China. National correspondent Kayla Gaskins explains.
The U.S. and China taking their rivalry to outer space.
Space is a place of extraordinary opportunity.
Vice President Kamala Harris outlining America's goals at the December National Space Council meeting.
The United States will return astronauts to the lunar surface. We will establish the first lunar base camp and the first station in lunar orbit.
The problem is China could get there first. The Chinese are rapidly advancing their space program, often catching American officials off guard.
New challenges have arisen, including from our strategic competitors.
The winner of the race would likely set the parameters for future lunar exploration. This includes mining resources on the lunar surface and establishing settlements. Both nations are using the moon as a step towards putting humans on Mars.
Right now, what we want to make sure is that China doesn't control space. We don't have to control it, right? We can share it, but we know that China doesn't share. China wants absolute control.
To advance their position, the United States is building an international lunar coalition, the Artemis Accords. 33 countries are now members.
Combining our resources, scientific capacity, and technical skill with that of our allies and partners around the world.
China creating a competing international coalition. Egypt, the latest country to join in early December, bringing the coalition to 9 countries, including Russia, the UAE, and South Africa.
NASA initially aiming to put astronauts back on the moon by late 2025, but a series of delays led the Government Accountability Office to conclude it likely won't happen until 2027. China's stated goals are to land on the moon before the end of the decade. I'm Kayla Gaskins reporting. Ahead on the National Desk, some families getting a furry addition this holiday season. Tips to transition during this exciting time. This is the National Desk, America's News Now. We have reporters all across the country in your neighborhoods covering issues that matter to you. From animal shelters in Texas with advice for new pet owners to a Montana community filling stomachs and hearts in need. We're taking the pulse of America. But first, we begin with those enjoying the wintry weather in Washington State.
The rain was icy, and maybe there was a snowflake or two in there, but there was no doubt that the magic of Christmas was falling for those who traveled up to Snoqualmie Pass.
What are you doing up here today on Christmas? We gotta have him see some white snow.
Tony Dutt and his 2-year-old son Landon taking a tiny tractor out for a spin before going to Grandma and Grandpa's house.
He's drifting out there. This is the best gift you could ever have right here.
We're scoping out some places to go sledding, but also where the dogs can enjoy the Christmas too.
One by one, Mira and her boyfriend introduced us to their furry family of 4.
Are you ready for the snow?
Cisco the husky.
Okay, Cisco the bingo.
Bingo the boxer.
I love this. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
This year, Ariel Adams spearheaded the annual Christmas dinner at Fork and Spoon. The HRDC's restaurant allows visitors to pay what they can for meals.
I'm from Georgia, so I've got some Southern mac and cheese, got some collard greens going.
Adams is excited to make sure everyone in the community has a good holiday. And helping out those in need is something that has a special place in her heart.
Growing up, sometimes we didn't have a lot of food to go around. And so I'm just really excited to give that food to people who need it.
The number of people receiving assistance from Fork and Spoon, the Gallatin Valley Food Bank, and HRDC's other programming has increased this year as the cost of living in Bozeman continues to rise. Because of that, Adams says serving a great Christmas dinner is all the more important.
It's been a hard year. Food costs have skyrocketed, housing and everything. People just wouldn't have a really good holiday without something like this.
Do a lot of prep work trying to get all of that arranged so that everybody feels as prepared as possible.
Austin Pets Alive's dog placement manager Allison Swearingen says bringing in a new pet for the holidays is a big responsibility.
These dogs, they've maybe been here for anywhere from a few days to weeks to maybe even a year longer. So moving to any new home is going to take a decompression and a transition period.
She says it's important to give your new pets lots of space and time to get used to the new home.
Let them sleep. If they want to hang out and just snooze, let them do that. Don't take them to the new brewery around the corner.
And she recommends keeping it separated for a few days before introducing it to kids, other pets, or neighbors.
These animals, they don't know where they are yet, so let's just keep an eye on everybody and make sure we're all being safe.
Still ahead, planning on sending Happy New Year texts. You're not alone. Just how many texts that were sent last year? Welcome back. How did you send holiday cheer? For many, it was by text. The U.S. just had its busiest day of the year for texting, Christmas. And the second busiest day is right around the corner. According to T-Mobile, 3 billion messages were sent for last year's Christmas. Compare that to the more than 92 million messages sent last New Year's Day. And get ready to send a lot more. That's going to do it for us on the weekend edition of the National Desk, America's News Now. Don't forget, you can catch us live from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. and 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time. Check your local listings. You can also watch us online and catch up with the latest headlines on thenationaldesk.com. Thanks for watching the weekend edition of the National Desk. I'm Dee Dee Gatton, and from all of us here, wishing you a Happy New Year.